Welcome to episode 3 of our new show, Football Fans Anonymous, where you, the proper football fans, get the chance to join us on the show, make the conversation about all the weekend's big talking points.
How we doing, fellas? You all right?
All right, Brad, you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay, mate. You?
All right, mate. Yeah, you must be buzzing after yesterday.
Yeah, obviously it was a good result. I think to be fair, 6-0. Obviously, to be fair, I think that Ipswich, obviously not the ideal sort of opponent you can go off to say we're sort of obviously back on a bit of a run. But I think to be fair, Brentford at midweek, that's shown everything that's been sort of wrong with us in the last 2.5 months, if you say. I think obviously Rodri's obviously everyone's saying he's a massive miss, and yeah, don't get me wrong, but I think obviously Gundogan and Kovacic stepped up yesterday, and it made obviously was the main difference, if you like. Obviously, if you look at our next, I think if you look at, go on.
I think City are moving in the right direction again. Just looks like that little spell they've gone through. Everything's settled down. Ireland signed a new deal. It looks like they're going to go and it looks like they completed 2 already, but they're going to take another couple more. So you could be looking at 4 new bodies in that group by the end of the window.
Yeah.
Confidence comes from results. Ipswich, by the way, have had some good results. Chelsea at home. Obviously, they had a really good result on the road as well at Fulham. So they're no mugs by any stretch of the imagination, but I just felt they really played into City's hands yesterday. And as soon as City scored, I mean, Ipswich had a couple of half opportunities. As soon as City scored and got the second goal, they just really got back in the groove.
I think they played into our hands a bit, to be fair.
They did, playing out from the back like that.
Playing out from the back, and then they pressed, obviously, man-to-man as whenever they could. And then as soon as De Bruyne starts getting in them channels and forward, and it's game over. Every time the ball was on down the channel in behind the centre-half.
Well, I think due to City's dominance, I think what's been missed with City is how good Pep Guardiola's teams are at pressing. Don't forget it, Barcelona team, his early City teams were pressing machines. And it was only because, they got that much dominance that they became a kind of a lot more possession-based because nobody really played out from the back due to how good City were as a pressing unit. I think the problems they had was they looked half a yard, 2 yards off sometimes in some games from getting that press right. It looked like they were disconnected and uncoordinated.
Legs in midfield,
yeah.
I'll say it over and over again. Kovacic and Gundogan. Gundogan's 35 years old now. That year at Barca, got foot knows what happened over there in Barca. For a year,
you just come off it, lad. For the year, you just come off it. Like the style of football just slows down for the year.
You look at La Liga. Yeah, you look at La Liga's tempo compared to coming up when people come over to come over from La Liga, and people go over to La Liga. They say it, don't they? Premier League completely different tempo and pace.
Yeah,
and
it is.
Like
yeah,
that.
I played in France. It's a completely different style and tempo, and obviously he was flying at City in his first stint, and they always say don't go back. I think it didn't work out for him at Barca. That's how he ended up finding himself surplus to requirements. And then, it's the Premier League's such an athletic league that I think you could go from the Premier League to Spain if that had been the case, but I don't think you can go from Spain back to the Prem.
Brad, it's a squad that's won a lot of trophies. Obviously, it's got a lot of credit for what it's done over the last 5 years or so in the Premier League and in Europe, and probably on world football because they're all strong internationals. But you've got to look at the people who Pep have let go. Like you look at Morgan Rogers, Cole Palmer, they've been around that Man City squad. Lavia.
Mate, seen someone tweet the other day the list of people we've let go.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely frightening. Like you got even people like Sancho, Jamie Vardy.
All right, isn't he?
Even Delap, good player. But
I'm saying you've just signed that Marmouche, whoever he is, who's a bit of an unknown quantity, but you're looking at Liam Delap going.
I don't understand why we didn't buy. We must have had a buy. I think we've got a buyback clause, if I'm not mistaken, on Liam Delap, but I'm not sure, obviously, the ins and outs or anything like that, whether they had to have him for at least 2 years before we allowed to activate that. What obviously don't know the contract situation, but I would have gone and bought that Liam Delap back. But it's the same thing. You looked at, like, for example, Wilfred Boney come from Swansea to Manchester City. It's levels. Do you get what I'm saying? Wilfred Boney was nowhere near. He's good for a team who play around him, i.e. Swansea that year where he scored about 40 goals. Comes to City, he's got what? I don't know, 8 for 40, whatever it would have been. Do you know what I mean? There's players who play in the bottom 10 teams in the league that everyone plays to their standard. I'm not saying at all Ipswich just play to Liam Delap stand because they've got good quality in there. Schmodix, Omar Hutchinson in the 10. Do you know what I mean? They've got a few good players. But I think that Liam Delap would have been maybe a bit of a punt to play at that level. Do you know what I mean? Especially, obviously, not going to get many minutes with Haaland, obviously.
Yeah,
now signing another 9.5-year deal, which has obviously been sort of put behind. Well, no one seen that coming, did they? Not even myself, who. But from Manchester, I know a few people in the club and stuff like that, and no one had heard any word of anything. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it shows their intent. I just didn't know whether it was obviously that amortisation of contracts to try and raise finance to have a dig this window, which they look like they're going to do, or whether that was pending the outcome of the charges, where City might be getting relegated, and they've just gone, look, well, he's here. It is interesting, isn't it, that the length of contract signed was 115 months.
Is that right?
115 months, 9.5 years is 115 months.
Someone asked Pep, didn't they? Someone asked Pep, and it was just like...
Well, that's what I mean. I'm like...
It's a good intent, to be fair, at the same time. I think that it shows, obviously, we're all worried as City fans, obviously, that something is going to happen, and obviously there's massive fucking charges, whatever, 115, whatever, and we're just all sat here like, shit, what's going to happen? Do you know what I mean? Like, I know it sounds bad, I've been a season ticket holder since 2002, since I was 3 years old, and I've seen us win, I've seen us be absolute shit. Obviously, Joey, you'll know, obviously, where I used to go and watch you as a kid compared to now, where I was in Istanbul.
You can't remember when they were even shitter than that before I signed for
them,
when they were in
third
division.
Well, the old man does. The old man says, like, you'll never see the shit I used to see. But do you know what I mean? Like, I was sat there crying in Istanbul when we won the treble with my mates and my family. It was like best time of my life. But it's just obviously now, as bad as it sounds, it's all just a...
So what's a good season then, Brad? What would you be happy with at the end of this season?
I wanted to ask there, sorry, Brad, to chip in with obviously with the charges, obviously not looking like it's going to be proceeded. Is it a new lease of life? How would you see not only this season but maybe the next 3 years at Man City?
Sorry, is that? Do you mean if we don't get charged, or we do?
If you don't, they're not going to get charged this year, are they? That's been wiped off, hasn't it?
No.
They're waiting on it now. They're still waiting on the outcome, I think.
Listen, yeah, we're still waiting on the outcome, obviously, but it's one of them things. I don't think from the intent that's what's happened is we're going to get charged. I genuinely don't. And people can all start saying, "Oh yeah, you bought your way out of it," or whatever else. But at the same time, I see Pep Guardiola even in the next 3 years. I think obviously he'll do his contract, what he's just signed to extension now, which is next year, and I'm sure it's the year after, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to get my years mixed up because he only signed a few months ago, didn't he? So it's this year, I think, then next year and the year after.
Yeah.
Whenever Pep leaves anyway, I think that's obviously when we'll discover where we're at in terms of a squad. We're signing players here who've got experience in the lower sort of divisions. If you like Bundesliga, I don't rate that much of a... I've tried watching it on TNT and whatever else, but I just don't rate that league at all. Same with the French league. I just think that we're signing players for... I don't know what the sake is. Obviously, depth I understand, but there's no reason why academy kids can't come in. McAtee looks like a decent player. Rico Lewis obviously is a decent player. But at the same time, I just don't understand why we must have release clauses in some of them players that we've let off who were all flying in them leagues. I know it sounds mad, but Sancho and Jamie Bino Gittins, who else have we let go centre halves? Do you know what I mean? Like, he was a good player, that Jason Tiger. So, but yeah, I don't know.
So what's a good season this season then, Brad?
I said top four. I said top four a month ago when I was watching us.
And a cup.
Everton 1-1 when we drew on Boxing Day. I said, fucking hell, we'll get a top four. We'll be lucky to get top four. And now we've just gone 4 for the 6-0. Ask me in 2 weeks when we play Chelsea on Saturday. And who else have we got? PSG on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's a big week for us, isn't it?
Well, that's a thing. I could see City winning a cup. I don't think there's going to be a worry for City getting in the top four. I don't.
Really, yeah.
I don't know. The problem is everyone's beating everyone at the moment.
Newcastle dropped points. Yeah. Chelsea have had a little poor run.
That's the positive, isn't it?
Arsenal are draw merchants at the minute. Villa are, you know what I mean? So that
have you seen our next 7 fixtures though, Joey?
Yeah, but City just steamrolling everybody. Like, the City are that good, they could go and win 10
We've got Spurs games. Away.
Yeah.
Should beat them.
Spurs away and Liverpool at home as well. We've got Newcastle away or at home as well. In the next, honestly, our fixtures are now ridiculous for the next... I could see us maybe winning 2 out of the next 7.
I can't believe you think like that as City fans.
I'm with Joey here, Brad. I think, like, City, the team, especially the way they clicked yesterday, having everyone back at it, I think they could go 10, 12 wins on the bounce.
Plus a few new players in the building.
Yeah, I just see Liverpool. I see Liverpool beating us in our own yard. I see us going to Newcastle, and I see Newcastle the way they play. I can see. Obviously, they dropped points yesterday.
Bournemouth have just swatted Newcastle.
I know Bournemouth have just tonked them, but I just think I don't know. Just with midfield still lacking.
You can sense that proper City fan in you. We're not really here. Do you mean? You can sense it in it.
I can see us in midfield. We were saying it in the group chat last night. Me and my mates who are all City fans was like, it's 6-0, but fucking hell, look who's in midfield. With all respect to Ipswich, we've got Sam Morsey, who isn't the quickest. Omar Richardson is obviously an experience.
Most of them were playing in League One 2 seasons ago.
I said Kovacic and Gundogan matched him yesterday. You want someone who's got a bit of legs. Like, it sounds daft if you play Real Madrid and you had Fede Valverde in midfield there against. It just run rings round us.
Or the Newcastle midfield's got a bit of legs in it with Joe Linton and that. Yeah. It has got a bit of legs.
Well, yeah, Joe Linton and that Tonali can run as well for hours, can't they? So, do you know what I mean? I just do that. Gravenberch, when Liverpool players, he's a player and a half as well. Like Gravenberch, they got him on the steel clearly. But yeah, I see Liverpool winning it. To be fair, I'm quite worried about Liverpool winning the treble, if I'm all honest.
I think there's a long way to go, but there's Liverpool for me win the league. I've been saying it. I just don't see anyone getting to them. I just think they're gonna.
I worry for Everton. I really worry for you boys as well.
We were till yesterday.
Yeah,
till yesterday.
A bit of positivity.
I'm not
yesterday.
sure. I think look at Spurs. I watched that game yesterday. And fucking hell, I thought we were shit. Spurs are dog shit.
Spurs are playing.
I don't understand what they've gone so downhill. I just don't understand what's happened.
They've got 11 players. They've only got 11 fit players from what I'm hearing. But also,
I don't understand that. But if you look at the quality of the players, you've got Heung-min Son, James Maddison in the 10, Basuma and that Sarah holding midfield. It's not. I know you've got a fair enough. Archie Gray played right back or centre half every game or so.
The keeper's dodgy. For me, that young keeper who's come in.
That Kingsley, to be fair, he played well in his first game, and then second game against Arsenal, if you watched obviously the North London derby last week, he was dodgy. But the first game he played was the midweek one at home to Liverpool in the semi-final. In the semi-final, so, but yeah, it was. I don't know. Spurs. My granddad supports Spurs. To be fair, on my other side of the family, and. Yeah, he's not optimistic
I've
at all.
I've just added a Spurs fan in here, if he'd like to come and chirp in.
What after the game finished yesterday, though, you must have been on a high, and then there was the big game that followed it, the Manchester derby in the WSL. Did you watch that?
Oh, mate, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm into American football, so I watched that.
I was trying to find the American football, the Eagles against the LA
Rams. NFL have got their own channel on Sky Sports, haven't they?
And I ended up watching the nonsense pottery. Honest to God, we'll have to get the goals up in a bit and go through it. It's like you've never seen.
I seen someone put a clip up of that where the keeper's gone to clear it, and
there's a worse one than that.
The forwards got in, but then someone's quoted that obviously the clip and said this is not even League 2 standard, and everyone was just fuming, going, "What have you ever actually watched league football? Like League 2 is." Millions of light years ahead of women's football. I flicked it over and I thought, you know what, I'll watch it because it's on City's pitch. And I was like, these are too small. They need to make the pitch smaller, the ball smaller, the goal smaller. That's the only way it's going to capture any attention because it's slow, it's error-strewn, and they haven't got the velocity and the power. Like a girl had a shot like and left foot, should have passed it. Should have made great little run, bad defending. Should have passed it and I'd end up having a shot. And it was just like laugh up. You laughed, and then you're looking at the crowd, and you can see the crowd's like dead patchy, and it's like people who are just not football people. It's just not it's not a football noise in there. Yeah, I seen that United goal, and like that actually looked like there was limbs going up like behind the goal, like a proper celebration. I'm like, how honestly, you can't?
I only had it on for 5 minutes. The ball must have turned over 48 times in 3 minutes.
Brad, thanks very much.
Cheers,
for your call,
Brad.
mate.
Thanks, mate. Good luck for the season.
Good luck against PSG on Wednesday. Is he gone?
He's gone, I think. Cheers, Brad. Good call there.
He loves his footy, you can tell he loves his footy.
They're just not confident though, are they, City fans? Like, you'd never get that from a United or a
Liverpool
or an Everton.
Imagine Everton won 4 Premier Leagues, we'd be going, well, we'll turn the corner, we'll be back here, we'll be back here.
They just haven't got that.
No, I can't see us winning. We might win 2 out the next 10. I'm just like, what?
That's not, it's not Man City.
What planet are you on? Matt, how are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, good, you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate, not too bad. You just missed
the Grealish chat. Mm-hmm. Why is stats a crap? But Mahrez and Sterling, they were obviously their stats were obviously better than Grealish is. So when you say like Pep's style of play kills wingers, it didn't for Mahrez and Sterling. So what's the difference with Mahrez?
I was saying the
Sterling
same. I was saying the same. I was like, obviously the way they play the position is down to the player. You know, the coach gives you instructions, and I know Pep's rigid in his instructions, but also I've seen, you know,
Mahrez and Sterling are more direct.
We said Pedro had done the same for obviously Barca off that flank, playing his Pep system. I just don't think. I don't think Grealish was ever a winger. You know, what the lad said here about Grealish being better in the centre at Villa, and obviously when we've seen him play for England in there, he's looked more dangerous. And I think he may well have been played in the wrong position. I think he might have been better central.
And I know what Matt's saying here, because statistically, obviously, Sterling's got goals. Sterling scored over 20 goals in one season, but he played a different role to Grealish. Now, I know they both played left mid for Man City and for Pep Guardiola, but if you can remember the season Sterling scored 20 goals, he should have scored 40 because he was arriving at the back post. It was more De Bruyne putting across to the back post, and he was scoring tap-ins, or Mahrez was squaring it across. How many times do you see Grealish attacking that back post off the ball? He doesn't do it. So I don't think...
The problem is with Grealish as well, because obviously you had the chat about him being a fit for Liverpool. The Liverpool number 10 has to work his fucking bollocks off. Like Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones, they're the legs in the midfield, and I don't think Grealish would do that.
Yeah, I was just saying, the way I seen that, Matt, was obviously you did once have a guy in there, Phil Coutinho, who was a little bit of a kind of luxury number 10. And when I look at Jones and Slozabay, although they're slightly different players, they are quite similar. And I was just saying, if he does leave City, who could take him? Would he fit to give Liverpool something different? And the way Arne Slot plays...
I'd love him as an option for that.
Well, the way Arne Slot plays as well, once you score a goal now, you make the pitch a bit longer and you have more phases of possession. So actually in that spot, Slozabay, whatever, does the running in the first 60 minutes. You're 1-0 up, 2-0 up. And then Grealish plays that role of keeping the ball. And that I think Jones can do a bit better than Slozabay. But I think Grealish is an even more safer central ball handler.
Yeah.
Have you seen the rumours of John Duran to West Ham as well?
Yeah, we were talking about that. Josh doesn't really think he's worth that kind of money.
Yeah, I just think he's overrated in terms of a Premier League striker at the moment. He's come on late in games and he scored a few goals. All right, look, I'm not saying he's bad. I just think for that amount of money, I mean, I think Ollie Watkins is a better striker.
Different types, though, aren't they?
I think Ollie Watkins is better.
Yeah. Well, different types in terms of... John Duran scores from distance, tends to score.
Yeah, but he's raw, isn't he? I just think people need to settle down a little bit. I think he's got a lot of football to do before he's getting bought for 50-60 million pounds.
Yeah, but forget the price tag. He's 21. You got to look at the player he could become. He's a good size. He can obviously score from distance. As he learns I don't think centre forwards peak till about 24, 25, 26.
What's your thoughts on Núñez, Matt?
And again, this is why Liverpool fans, I think, have stuck with him. Is his numbers aren't great, but he works his arse off.
Yeah,
and I think that's why he's kind of been given a little bit more leeway than. I don't get me wrong. I think obviously what happened on the weekend, that's a freak. It's a one-off, but for me, he's not the long-term answer. But I think the reason why they've stuck with him is just because of how hard he works, and also you can see he gives a shit. He cares.
He just has his ways of pulling you back in.
So sorry,
I just wanted to ask: would you have him over John Duran?
Good question.
If I'm honest with you, I don't think either are quite at the level where Liverpool want to go. Like I love Jota, but
can't stay fit.
Again, you can't stay fit.
Is he going to score you 20 a season?
Jota will if he's fit.
If Jota played 30 games, he would, yeah.
Jota played 30 games to get you 20, yeah.
But he can never play more than 20, 25 games a season, Jota.
Yeah,
that's the problem. I think we are going to have to go in for a number 9.
We are missing a world-class striker who plays 38 games and gets you 25 goals a season. But we've got Mo Salah, so Are we like,
Who we
do we
talking
need
about
it?
before there? I've lost my chain of thought. What have you-
John Duran?
John, no, before
and
that.
then Nunes.
Oh, Nunes. If you watch the goals back from Saturday, Nunes' first goal, he doesn't really have to think much about it. It's kind of instinctive and he puts it away. And then his second goal was the goal of confidence. It was a really, really good finish. And sometimes for strikers, as I say, there's been a few times I remember Nunes going through one-on-one. I can't remember who the game was against, and he dinked the keeper.
It was against Brentford.
Was it Brentford? And I didn't
season
expect
before.
him to do it. And
He didn't need to.
I thought, oh my God, he might now go on a run. And then he was inconsistent again. And I do agree with Matt there. I think Liverpool fans, if they see you working your arse off for the team, I think they'll stick with you. I think that's lots of footy fans. I think lots of footy fans, if they see you working hard for the cause, they'll stick with you, even in the midst of being frustrated. And I always remember something I heard that came out of Liverpool, because I had a few conversations with the staff there, Pep Linders and that, when I did my pro licence. And they didn't want to pay the money that they paid for them. So Jurgen Klopp was wanting to pay half of what they could have paid for him initially from Benfica. And I don't know whether it was Michael Edwards who done the deal, but it ended up being... He didn't.
I think the fear with it.
He didn't think he could handle the price tag.
He was being linked to United.
Well,
I think that was the problem.
Klopp didn't. From what I gather, Klopp didn't think he was worth that much, and it put too much pressure on him, which it may have done. If you'd have signed him for say 30, I think he comes in with a little bit less expectation than obviously. What was the actual transfer fee on 70 mil, give or take?
80, I think it was 85 mil.
85 mil. So
it wasn't that euros though. It was 85 million euros.
All right, so that's probably what, say 75 mil, 70 mil.
It's just over 70 mil.
So
English.
when you look at it and you go, Rasmus Højlund's gone to Man U for 72 mil. Would you take Højlund over Nunes?
No.
Jackson, 60 odd mil.
I don't think it was that much, Jackson.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
fella at Chelsea, 60 mil.
Matt, who would be your realistic signing for number 9? For
The
Liverpool?
dream
You
signing.
can't have
or the realistic
Calvert-Lewin.
one?
He's up in the summer, but so
I think the dream signing is Isak, isn't it?
yeah.
I think that's realistic as a Liverpool.
I
How
don't
much are you
see
going to have
him
to pay
going
for
anywhere.
him?
He's got 4 years left on his deal, and Newcastle don't need the money, so they'll go 150 mil.
But if they don't make the Champions League, they're going to run into Alexander Isak's ambition, aren't they? Because them top players want to be playing Champions League every year. At Liverpool, if he goes to Liverpool, that's Liverpool pretty much guaranteed Champions League, isn't it? Well, I mean, these are usually anyway, but I think...
I'd love Isak, and I'd love the... is it Kirkaz? I'd love him at left back.
The left
as well.
back, yeah.
I think he's
Because we were saying about Anthony Robinson was linked with Liverpool a while back, but it does. I think the Hungarian connection with Slozabay, I think that'll put Liverpool in pole
I
position.
think the Hungarian connection and also the age profile as well. I
Yeah.
think Robinson's 27, 28. I think they'd go for... they'd take a punt on the younger lad, to be
But
honest.
they'd probably end up selling Tsimikas and keep Andy Robertson.
Yeah,
as a little backup.
you'd keep Andy Robertson round for
His experience,
the leadership qualities. Yeah, I mean, I've been quite impressed with Tsimikas this season. I think he's been quite good.
I think he's good enough to
Um,
start in the Premier League side. Now, obviously, it's tough, because
I
for
think
Harvey
it's
Elliott the same.
It's
Not a bad
delivery.
problem to have,
Yeah,
is
it's
it?
delivery from corners is better than Robertson's.
Matt,
But the problem with Tsimikas, he's a mad bastard, so you just don't know what you're going to get from him
Yeah.
defensively.
Yeah, he is. He
He's
can be
rash.
up and down. Yeah, defensively.
Matt, what do you think for the rest of the season? Like Liverpool going to win it all? You heard Thomas Frank saying they're the best team in the world right now. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't think they'll win it all. I think, realistically, the only challenges for them in the league is Arsenal. Depends what Arsenal go and do in the next 10 days, though. They need another forward. I think if you look at Liverpool's away fixtures, they're harder than Arsenal's, but I think we'll just about have enough to pit them to the line.
Yeah, he's 6 points up with the game in hand, aren't you?
Yeah, so statistically,
Game
is
in
what
hand's
it
good
is what it's
and
going to take.
I think Everton takes something off Liverpool.
Hopefully.
Don't say that.
Last one at Goodison. Hopefully. I'll take a draw. You take a draw now? Will you take a draw at Goodison now?
No,
No?
I think so.
Depends though. If you're going off, but the thing is though, I think the good thing is with where the Everton game lies is Arsenal play City, I believe, the weekend either before or after.
Yeah,
so you go,
you
City
have
go
to
take something off Arsenal. We go get a point at Everton. You go, the 6 point gap still there. We'll be happy with that.
I can't see Liverpool. You wouldn't swap, would you? You wouldn't swap your horse now.
So, yeah,
You're not
No.
gonna-
87
No.
points is like what people think it's going to take us to win the league. So we need 37 points from the next 51 available. This is like statistically. So 17 games left,
I think
11
I think
wins,
we go
4
win
draws,
it.
2 defeats, which
I
seems
think
very
we go
doable.
We'll turn around that semi-final against Spurs, I think, at Anfield.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, especially the way they played yesterday.
So the only chance
Yeah.
we've got now is
And
COVID
when you look
coming
at
back
it,
from the league getting cancelled.
honestly, when I look at it, I go, who's fucking stronger than them in Europe as well? Because Real are all over the gaff.
With the best team.
Real Madrid are all over the gap, but they always seem
Bayern
to
aren't the
get the
force
ducks
they
in
once
line, don't
were.
they?
The Italian sides aren't the force they once were. Like, you wouldn't be fearful playing any of the Italian sides. You wouldn't be fearful playing any of the German sides. I don't think you'd be fearful of playing PSG. So it's only what version of Real Madrid? Because I think there's only one team in Europe who were lucky in Liverpool. It's fucking Real Madrid. So they're the only team I can see beating.
This is going to be a rogue shout. This is going to be a really rogue shout, and they've had a strange season. But Man City over the last couple of weeks just seem to be getting their shit together again.
Yeah, but I still think that there's a hole in the middle of the pitch. And I watched the game against Ipswich yesterday. They've won 6-0, could have been more. I think if they played Newcastle with that team they played yesterday, I think they could have got overrun. If they played Liverpool with that team they played yesterday, they could have got overrun. So it'll be how well their new signings do, Mamouche and the 2 lads they've signed at the back. And I'm hearing they're going to do another one. What position that is or who that ends up being, I'm not sure. And I think City's season in Europe, it'll depend on if those signings can impact the first team.
Matt?
Yeah, just with Real Madrid just always seem like they always get their ducks in line. And that when it comes to the crunch of the Champions League, as poor as they've been, I think they're always favourites.
Yeah, well, it was even like when they beat City, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, they've just got that nous in that competition. You know, Mbappe there, big game player.
Yeah.
Looks like he scored 2. Did you see his finish yesterday? He scored a fucking great finish yesterday. And obviously had a hat-trick, but one was disallowed. You've got Bellingham, who's a big game player. Vinicius is a big game player. And they'll eventually sort their blip out. And
I think it could be a trilogy then.
As a Liverpool fan now, if you offer me the league and nothing else, I'd be quite happy with that.
Sound, Matt,
the
thanks very
quadruple's
much.
still on, no, Matt. Still on. I heard someone on TalkSport yesterday saying the quadruple again.
Remember what happened a couple of years ago?
Let's
Everyone
hope
said
not.
we're going to win the quadruple. Only
Well,
we're
listen,
in the League Cup and the
At least you're fucking in with the shout of it, and it's a possibility.
Of course.
Like, try being an Evertonian where you're just like, we're made up, we've scored.
Matt, all the best
Matt,
for the
thanks
season,
for the call,
mate.
mate. Good luck for the rest of the season.
Cheers.
Ta-ra, mate.
Take care, guys.
Ta-ra.
Ta-ra.
How are you?
Yeah.
You're
Who
okay?
is it? What's his name, Noah?
Jacob.
Jacob, who
I'm
you
good,
support?
how's it going?
Who's your team?
I'm a Man City fan, mate.
Ah, good lad.
Good memories of you. I was just I remember being a kid and when you scored that banger against Charlton at the Etihad back in the day. So yeah, big fan, mate.
Andy Gray on the commentary as well. No women on the commentary, so it makes it even better when you're there. To back.
Yeah, even better.
You remember the keeper was Thomas Myra, the old Everton goalie. Remember him?
Oh, was it?
That was I used to watch him
And
at
City
Everton.
as well. Was he at City as well, man?
No, Myra, no. You're on one tonight, aren't you? With your mad ones. What did you think about the game yesterday?
It was good, mate. We looked back to business. I did the trip down there, like 9-hour round trip. So it was a good day out. Good to see us put someone to the sword for the first time in a couple of months. So hopefully, we've got a tough run coming up now. So hopefully we can kick on.
It could have been more. He obviously got a rest into Haaland and De Bruyne and give them a bit of a breather with 25 on the clock. So I think if City could have kept the foot on the accelerator, it could have been about an 8 or 9 now.
Jacob, we spoke to
exactly.
We spoke to another City fan at the beginning of the show. He wasn't confident at all, was he?
In the next period of the
games. What's your thoughts on? I know the tough games on paper, but obviously you went the game. You've been going the last few games. So what's your thoughts?
Well, that's probably the first game where I've come away from it feeling like we'd actually dominated the game. Even going back to the West Ham game and the Leicester game, even though we got the wins, we still were poor in the match. We'd kind of gone toe-to-toe with these teams that are in and around the bottom of the table and come out pretty luckily in the end. So the fact that we did put Ipswich to the sword and were quite ruthless yesterday fills me with a bit more confidence going into the next fixtures.
And the fact that you're going to go in the transfer market, it looks like they're going to take at least 3 or 4 by the look of it.
Yeah, it looks like Marmouche is getting done tomorrow. He's been putting up massive numbers in the Bundesliga, right? So if we can get a couple of people through the door and, like I say, a couple of people back from injury before the February run of games, I'm pretty confident we can get a few decent wins against the big sides. Got a big game against PSG, so I fancy us to beat them and secure us getting into the knockout stages of the next round of the Champions League. So yeah, hopefully we can kick on from these couple of good results now.
Jacob, just going to ask you an honest question, mate. Had you heard anything about those 2 players before you signed them?
I'd seen Marmouche, yeah. I've seen Marmouche a few times. I'd seen him in the Europa League a couple of times this year. And I know he was doing a couple of bits last year for Frankfurt. He had the good goal returns last year, but I've not heard anything about the centre-backs before they'd come in. But you've got to put trust in the scouts at City and some of the talent that they've brought in, like Savio and stuff over the last few years. Doku even, who's a bit hit and miss sometimes, but he's been looking good recently.
Jacob,
don't think people have seen a lot of them.
Where do you see Marmouche getting in this team?
I think he'll probably end up playing a similar role to Alvarez last year, where he kind of was a bit of a utility player, where he could probably play as a 9 to fill in for Haaland. To give him a rest now and again. Play him in the 10 as well. He can play off the left-hand side. So I think he's going to be one of them that's used quite sparingly across the front 4, if I'm honest with you.
Don't forget, City were 4-4-2, shaped without the ball lots of the time last year. And I think as De Bruyne's athleticism is probably his best years of being an athlete are behind him, them surging runs from De Bruyne, I wouldn't be surprised, especially in Rodri's absence, to see De Bruyne drop 5-10 yards deeper and become like a first receiver and a playmaker. And because don't forget, De Bruyne would go on and play as that secondary striker.
Do you not think City would absolutely get marmalised in the midfield if they had 2 up front with De Bruyne and then who else are you throwing in the middle with De Bruyne?
That's what they played. That's what they played last year.
But they had Rodri.
Yeah, Rodri.
But there's like with now.
Will it be Kovacic? It'd be Kovacic or Kovacevic and De Bruyne. Well, Gundogan's got no legs. There's more legs there if you put Gundogan in there, and then it'll obviously be Phil Foden one side, and whether Doku played a bit better. Yesterday, it looks like he's absolutely binning Grealish. Grealish has got no.
You got Savinho on the other side.
Savinho, or he brings Bernardo Silva when fit back in for that role, and then it's Haaland and obviously Mamouche
and they've got Nunes if they needed the legs in there. What do you think, Jacob?
Or Foden.
What do you think? Would you like to see say a central midfielder signed in the window?
Yeah. Well, before the window started, that had to be the one that we went for. I've been pretty surprised that we've kind of gone down the route of getting the 2 young centre backs in. But I mean, with the injury problems that we've been having at the back, Akanji, Stones, Ake have always been consistently out this season.
Well, unless he puts one of them into midfield.
That's what I'm.
With Stones.
There has been rumours of that happening with Stones and Guardiola maybe getting put there. Akanji's played an inverted role there a couple of times as well. But I've been hearing a few rumours regarding Douglas Luiz the last couple of days.
Yeah.
He's let him go as well, isn't he? He's on that list of who was at City.
That's what I mean. He went from us to Villa. He's not playing for Juve at the moment, so even if we got him on loan till the end of the season, a little 6 months, and if he performs well, then get a little buy-up.
Well, the other side of that is you get that Alicia Lehmann, his missus, who plays for the fucking Juventus team, who's a bit of a sort. And based on the big game that was on Sky last night in the WSL, City United women's derby, City got pumped, didn't they? 4-2.
Did you watch any of that, Jacob?
I was gonna ask you, Joey, if you watched any of it. To be fair,
I flicked over for the NFL and I seen City United. I thought, what's this? And then I realised it was the nonsense, the cosplay.
Well, I'd gone onto Twitter after on the way back from Ipswich last night and seen a couple of the highlights flying about, and I seen a keeper make an absolute howler straight from kickoff.
There was a few. So. I mean, it's. I know they're trying to grow it, but obviously because it was in the Etihad as well, and you're looking at, I'm just going,
massive pitch, massive goals,
pitch. Yeah, they just look like a gang of school kids running around, not doing the game any favours on those big parks.
While we're on the
it wasn't the best.
While we're on the topic of women, anyway, what's happening with Ruben Diaz? Hasn't he been hanging out at that?
He's doing all right, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's doing all right there.
My captain, mate, doing the business off the field.
Do you know what, though, lad?
You're happy with that, Jacob?
Hang on, lad. He's following Stormzy,
what a guy,
you know.
man, I'm proud of him.
He's following Stormzy, lad.
Jacob, thanks very much for your call, mate.
See, all the best for the season, mate.
Ta-ra, lad. Have a good one. See you in a bit.
Ta-ra, lad.
Yeah, Stormzy to Ruben Diaz. That's who he's with.
Hasn't he?
I mean, he's a good-looking lad, though, isn't he, Ruben Diaz? He must have a bit about him. Captain of the City, looks like a leader. Have you seen him with his top off? He's an absolute beast. That was another episode of Football Fans Anonymous. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notification buttons. See you soon.